Good morning, NewsonFloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning my guest is Sandy Mishkin, the co-founder and the retired president with CCA Global. Sandy, how you doing?
Terrific, Kemp.
I'm calling you because you got a well-deserved standing ovation at the last meeting. You were brought to the stage, and they announced that you were retiring from CCA Global after 37 years. So congratulations on that standing ovation.
Yeah, thank you. It's hard to get used to.
Well, it's well-deserved. You've left quite an imprint on the business. Let me run through real quick the past, and then I've got a couple of questions for you. The last time you and I talked, in case somebody wants to go back and look at it, was when you were inducted to the WFCA Hall of Fame, which was back in 2012. So you were honored there. You were the 40th inductee. Your history is very interesting in the flooring business. Your first job was a buyer with E.J. Corbett. They were a discount carpet company with 55 stores. You were a buyer there. And then you got on the selling side. You worked for Trend Mills, and then you worked for Horizon Mills. I know that Peter Spire left an imprint on you because I see a lot of Peter in you and some of the things you do. And then you became a retailer in the Atlanta area. And then Howard and Allen reached out to you. You guys had a meeting at a Waverly Hotel in Atlanta. Back of a napkin, you came up with this great idea of forming the Carpet Co-op of America, and that was 37 years ago, right?
Right. Can't believe it.
Time has flown by. A couple more little things. You told me last time I interviewed you that you realize not only did you need to help these family-run businesses buy better, but to sell better, to become a merchant, to have brands that they could use to help increase the value of what they were selling to the consumer, right?
Yeah, for sure. And I think the underlying direction that really drove us was to make sure the independent retailer could survive in the flooring business.
Right.
You know, the industry had changed where mills no longer were small. You had these mega mills, and there were 400 back in 1985 when we formed,
right.
And now today we're probably down to a handful or 10. One of the benefits of being in the co-op was that we could give our members scale in their business.
Right. Well, most people are going to smile when they listen to this because they've seen you on stage. They know you're witty, funny, personable, curious, entertaining. Let me just ask you a couple quick questions if you don't mind. What's your fondest memory in the business?
I guess seeing our napkin that we had in 1985 with our business plan, and then fast forward that a couple of years later or 3 years later and see that you were at 100 stores from nothing but an idea. And never would have believed that 37 years later we would be the leading seller of floor covering in North America.
Right. So you obviously, the three of you came up with a concept that filled a void that there was a need for because people jumped in and you had 100 members within just a few years, right?
Right. And it wasn't all easy convincing members to join. This industry lives and dies on the fact that the independent is fiercely independent.
I guess another question to ask, since you're often known as the funny guy, tell us your funniest story that you remember.
My funniest story I probably can't tell on the air.
Okay, so, I agree.
Okay, but being that you asked, one of the things to keep our members excited during the convention, we would put on skits, and typically Howard would be Karnak, and I'd be the contestant. And if you remember the old Johnny Carson show, the way Karnak worked, you picked a card, and the card would have the answer, and the contestant had to fill in the question.
Right.
And on one occasion, I pulled the card, and it said catcher's mitt, triple, and Dolly Parton. And then I came up with a big mitt, a big hit, and a country western singer.
It doesn't rhyme. All right. Well, tell me, what's your legacy in this business? What is Sandy Mishkin going to be known for?
I guess I've earned a reputation for being a tough buyer. But when I go beneath the word tough, there's another word associated with it, and that's the word fair. And I think if you ask the suppliers, I earned their respect because I could deliver the business. And it really goes to, I guess, a legacy I've had the good fortune over 37 years of mentoring several people in the company and see them follow in my path and succeed in their careers. I guess that's the best legacy that anybody can live.
That of a teacher, you're saying?
Yeah, as a teacher and transferring your skills to other people. You know, in the old days, they used to wave at me with 5 fingers. As I went through Dalton, they now wave at me with 1 finger.
You know, if we think about one of the reasons that you guys started CCA Global is, because the home centers were coming on, and now there's, over 4,000 of them, and then you've got Floor and Decor. And so a good question to ask you is, what's the outlook for the ability for a family-run business to make a healthy living in this business?
I got to tell you, we're in a tough industry as far as occupation. I think what keeps us in business is the fact that we do a complicated installation. Mm-hmm. And I think, like most family entrepreneurial businesses, it's driven by the owner.
Yeah.
And we're fortunate in the fact that we've helped a lot of families survive by joining the co-op. There is no magic because it's hard work. We found out that we could do more together than we can do individually. Mm-hmm. And by working together to solve each other's problems, we help family businesses survive. But my mantra has always been, it's not about the buying, it's about the selling. Mm-hmm. I think this industry spends too much time on the cost side of the equation, not enough time on the selling side of the equation. If you took the same time that you spend beating up the supplier for a dime and use that time to train your people to sell for $1 more, you'll go home with money in your pocket.
Mm-hmm. All right, Sandy, thanks so much for spending time with us. Hopefully we're still going to see you. We are, aren't we?
Kemp, I wouldn't have it any other way. I took a 9 count, not a 10 count.
Okay. That sounds good. All right. Again, we're talking to Sandy Mishkin, the co-founder and retired president of CCA Global, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.